Well, hello, everybody. All right. My name is Teddy Campos. I am the Technology and Innovations Director for SKC Group, the people that put on this lovely event. What's up in the back? SKC. Came to the company about a half a year ago. I was very lucky to be invited to join the SKC team. And now I'm here to talk to you about SEO. Everybody knows what SEO is, right? Well, I'm going to put a little bit of a spin on it, if that's okay. So you're going to learn the basics, but not really, I promise. It's kind of a trigger word in the industry, if you ask me. So, does anybody know where the best place is to hide a dead body? That's probably true, but lately, it's really on page 2 of Google search results. It's just the truth. I'm going to give you a little bit of some Google stats. 70% of all desktop searches, they're done on Google. Baidu comes in at 13, Bing at 12, and Yahoo at 2. They've already received, as of the beginning of May this year, 500 billion searches, with a B. Of the billions of searches, 15% are daily searches. They're brand spanking new. Brand new. 15% every day. That's remarkable. That's a lot of stats for the neuro guys, that's for sure. The first 5 organic results on Google account for about 67% of all clicks. High quality content and link building are the 2 most important signals used by Google to rank your website. There's 200 signals that they use. Those are the 2 most important. So when you ask yourself, how does my site rank? Is it being shown? Do people's eyeballs actually get to see it? You got to ask yourself, do you have high quality content that is relevant? And do you have links, or what I like to call those? The next 4 after that Google looks at is direct website visitors. That means they went directly to the site. The time on the website, the pages per session, and the bounce rate. It's been a while since I've spoken. This is all. The average content length of the top position of Google article is over 2,000 words, 2,400 words. So if you wonder why a lot of times you're trying to can I just get up to a certain level? Why can't I beat this other guys? Or why is my site lower than all the other ones? Look at how long the articles are. Look at how much content they write and how relevant it is. And if you're not doing that, you're sort of fooling yourself. And you're getting mad at your little SEO guy, and who has been telling you this since the very beginning, that, look, you gotta write more content. I don't know what to tell you. Nowadays, video is 50 times more likely to get organic rankings. Way more likely. Y'all see the video tab? We're gonna talk about that later. A great way to increase traffic is to update and republish old blog posts. Add some new content, add some images. We're going to talk about geotagging images and adding the EXIF information to them. That's because images are returned 28% of all Google searches. That's a lot. How does Google understand what those images are? A little bit of AI, definitely. But there's a really big chunk that's written into the images, and I'm going to teach you guys how to do that. It's pretty easy, actually. So what the heck is even SEO? Obviously, search engine optimization. It's the process of actually optimizing your site, not just wishing it was optimized. You have to do keyword research, you have to do content creation, you have to do link building, and you have to do audits. You have to audit your site on a regular basis if you want it to be successful. Okay, let's talk about my daily SEO routine. I check analytics. I go very slow. A lot of times, most people don't have time for analytics. The slower you go, the more likely you're going to catch something. So, if you go slow, you make a lot of assumptions, and then tomorrow, you'll make new assumptions. I check my tools, like Ahrefs and SpyFu, which, give you smart decisions. That's why we're here. I look at competitors' keywords. A lot of times, if I'm doing a site for a client, I will scour the world for what exists and who are they directly opposed on. And then I will steal their keywords. You work on content, blogs, and images. Doesn't matter how well you rank. Tomorrow is a whole new day, especially on the internet. More like 10 minutes from now is a whole new day on the internet. But tomorrow's a new day. And if you want to keep the crown, you want to stay on top, you've got to consistently work on blog posts. You got to consistently work on adding new images or tying data to those images, and lots of relevant content. And then backlinks are votes. It's the best way to think about it. Why does a website do better than me? Well, how many other websites are voting for them? Do they have a link to my site? Is it a relevant link? We're not talking about a fake link. We're not talking about just posting links out there. We don't live in that world anymore. Used to be what it is, but now it's not. So always work on votes. Garnish those relationships. Take the time with other websites to really encourage putting up information about your site on their site. That's how you win. So these are the areas I'm going to talk about very briefly. Okay? Make sure the number one issue that most people have is their site is not mobile friendly. I don't know how to stress how important mobile friendly is, but if you are under a certain age, you haven't even opened the laptop. All of your work is on your phone. So optimize your H1, H2, and H3 tags. If you know what that is, I will explain it. Optimize your title tags and your meta descriptions. Create a sitemap. Make sure robots is on point, which I'll explain. Plug in your relevant keywords. Set competitors' keywords. Compress and geotag your website's images. Put your TikTok on and get back to work. Set up your Google My Business and Google Analytics. Start a blog. Create useful content. Use outreach and guest posting to build links. We're going to briefly touch on each one of these very quickly. Okay, so what makes your website responsive? Why do mobile marketers make good parents? Does anyone know? Because they're responsive. If you're not laughing, it's because you don't understand how mobile websites work. You should call me after the show. We'll talk about it. In 2020, 55% of all online traffic came from mobile. By 2025, everyone expects it to be around 73-75%. That means that you have to be able to sit on your phone and do absolutely everything that your site has to offer. Everything. And walk away and not go, oh, well, most people are using a desktop. I know you've all had those thoughts. It's time to fix that stuff. Okay, H1, H2, and H3 tags are basically your big headers on the site. What do they see when they first get to the website? What's the biggest one right there? Make sure that they are relevant to you, okay? And just by having an H1 tag on your page, you're helping your website rank better. It may not be the strongest thing you can do for SEO, but tags are still very important for SEO because they tell both search engines and website visitors, real people, what the content is going to be about. So if your title, you're right there on the main page, if it's not clear as to what your website is, most people will bounce. And anybody knows what a bounce rate is? It's when they dip immediately. They're like, oh, this is website. Wait, what is this? This is not what I was looking for. Because you didn't capture them right away with the very first thing blazed across the top of your site. You need to optimize your title tags. Basically, the context of the page within the site. Your title needs to tie to the context of the site. They need to be very relevant. You don't just say, Lexicon Vegas dash homepage. That doesn't work. I mean, technically it works, but you need a little bit more than that. You need to be descriptive as to what you're actually talking about and how you're doing it. It needs to be relevant to what is actually on the page. You need to try to be unique. You know? A lot of WordPress sites, I won't mention any names, say when you look at them on the website, when you look at them on the internet, when you go to Google and you type it in, it will say something about "this is my first WordPress site" as the title of their website. Right? It's so simple to change these things. Every page needs to be unique, needs to be different, and the title and the description should actually talk about the web page. Okay? Dynamic options, it depends on if you're using a dynamic website. So a dynamic, an example of that would be a shopping cart. You know, you loaded all your items into your cart, people get to the page, and then at the top, the title says, or the meta description, it says cart. It doesn't actually say what items are on the page. Making those things relevant really help the people click, which turns into cash. Directly. Very important. What is the searcher's intent? The title and the description should reflect what somebody actually is intending to do. The problem a lot of people have is that they're working on their own site, their own back, they're adding all the things. They don't have a lot of time. So they think of it, well, I know what that means, therefore the rest of the world should know what that means. You really have to think about what a searcher's intent is. Very, very important. You gotta have a call to action. Boy, that helps tremendously. SERP just means search engine response page, basically the landing page. Don't try too hard. Don't really, really, really overthink it. Just think about, if I was browsing this competitor's website and they're selling the same product, what does their title say? Does it make sense? Do I want to buy now? It's because it had me stay on their page just for 5 more minutes than the average person? Think about that when you're doing it for yourself. Keep the perspective. Try to keep a standoff perspective. Okay? Overplaying and repeating words is a quick way for Google to say, right? You do not want to just repeat. You will always lose. Okay? This is not 2003. Your goal for an optimized title tag is to match the wording that you use with what is being searched for, as long as the perceived intent is the focus of the content of the page. All right. Who knows what a sitemap and a robots file is? Yeah, that's 3, 4, 5, 6. I see one in the back. I'm going to count that as 7. All right. Thank you, Brian. Okay. 2 very important things that a lot of websites don't have is a sitemap file and a robots file. Super easy to implement. You can go to xml-sitemaps.com and basically copy-paste some stuff from your website. It will generate you some files, and you basically make sure those files are loaded into the default, into the root of your website. That's it. The sitemap is an XML file meant to show the bots how many useful and rankable URLs there are on the website. It's important. Google needs to know. And the robots file is meant to just tell the search engine how to navigate and which pages do not go to. You might have stuff you don't want indexed. We all do that. Mostly it's social media, but for the rest of us, there are bad pages out there. Plug in relevant keywords and study your competitors' keywords. Keywords are fun. An SEO expert walks into a bar, bars, pub, tavern, public house, Irish bar. Okay? Keywords matter, right? Very important. Always, always, always check your keywords and your competitors' keywords. You really need to know what the competition is doing. If you are struggling at all in getting your website to basically eyeballs and traffic on the regular, take a little bit of time. Don't just look at another competitor's website and go, man, I love their site. What's wrong with me and my team? A lot of people do that. And it's not your site. I mean, it might be your site. I don't want to get too deep, but it has a lot to do with whether or not what people are searching for is relevant. It's tied. You created the bridge. Keywords are the bridge from relevancy to cash in your pocket, to actually turning sales, to making the phone ring. That's what I always tell people. They ask, what do I do for SKC? I make the phone ring for our clients. I turn it on. I show them how to make make Google work. Make it work, right? Simple. Okay, the next thing, which is a really fun stuff to do, which I strongly recommend, is compress and geotag your images. A big issue as to why a bounce rate will be high. A bounce rate is when people go, screw you, I'm out. Thank you very much. It was a really nice website, but I can't stay here any longer. It's because it took too long to load. We know that your hero shot, which is the main picture that goes across the front of your page, is beautiful, and you want to keep the resolution because it matters so much. But the problem with that is that it makes a site load on somebody's horrible Wi-Fi connection on their phone, and now you lost the potential buyer. You lost the phone call. You lost the lead. Okay? So compressing your images. 2 fantastic websites that are totally fun. Compressor.io. You basically just download all of your pictures from your website, or go to your WordPress and do whatever you got to do. Get all the images off of your site. Go to compressor.io and just drop all those pictures into there, and it will spit out all much smaller files that look like, unless you are real particular, that look pretty much the same. And now you take those, then going to upload all of those files into a tool called geoimager.com. This is very fun. Well, if you're a tech guy, I don't know what to say. Marketing, it might be a little bit tedious. But GeoImager is a website that will allow, it's free, mostly, unless you do a lot. It will allow you to tag each of your images to your office location. It writes keywords, it writes a description, it writes your company. It actually does the latitude and longitude. You basically go to the map, you drop a pin, or you put in your office address, and you are now tying all that information into the actual picture itself. It's not an external file, it doesn't create something separate, it's not hard to do. You basically, just like you use Google Maps, you put it in, you add some keywords that has something to do with the page that it's going to be on, maybe a description if you like, then you load that up and put those, you just download them right back, and then you put those on your website. Now Google will index all of your images, direct those people directly to your site. Not just the keywords that go to the web page, but the actual pictures themselves. And you will find that you will get traffic and potential customers as a result of images, which is remarkable. Every single picture on every single page. Oh, and then there was the TikTok one? Yeah. So, you should be on it. Okay, so set up Google My Business and Google Analytics. Oh, what happened? I know, right? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Where's my data? This is for the journalists. Okay, so important. For a lot of you, setting up Google My Business and Google Analytics might seem like a chore, but it's probably the most important thing that you will do. Someone types in anything that has to do with your company, preferably your actual company name. You're going to be fighting with, unless you're in the legal field, because I know with lawyers, they're not allowed to advertise against each other, but everyone else does for every other industry. So if you're selling shoes and you want to go up against Zappos, you will put in your keyword Zappos and try to maybe do pay-per-click or try to get listed for those items when they get shown up on Google. If they type in your company name, your map should show up on the right-hand side of the page. It should have all the information about your business, your hours, your address, your website, reviews, which is paramount in the industry for as far as Google goes. So these are very simple things to do, basic, as I like to call them. But if you haven't taken the time to go to googlemybusiness.com and make that work for you, or even create an analytics account for your website, you're gonna have a harder time than the rest. I understand everybody's busy. Just put it on your list, right? Everybody's got a list, especially on their phone. Another thing to do is to start a blog and create useful content. Now, I'm going to show you two fun things. I think I talked about this with the machine learning, the AI guys. There's two websites here that you definitely should write down, because this is going to bypass all of the hard work that you have to do to make this happen. And for those of you that care very much about that, I'm really sorry. Do I have time? Ooh, I gotta go. Okay, real fast. The Answer Socrates is a website where you just type in anything. You put in digital marketing. It creates real-life questions that have been pulled from the internet that are how people are phrasing their questions about whatever it is that you're talking about. It will list for you 100 questions right off the bat that has something to do with you. You can then go over to shortlyai.com, which is use the GPT-3, the same thing as the machine learning guys use. You put that in, and it will write for you a blog article based on the question that you just asked it. So if you're saying, I don't have time to do this, I just gave you the ultimate hack, like for real. Okay? AnswerSocrates.com, create your questions. ShortlyAI.com will literally write the blog for you. You just copy it and paste it. Add your images, make sure they're tagged properly, and make it relevant. If it doesn't, make your adjustments, and then do this at least one time a week. Okay? With great content, writing great content is never easy, but it becomes much easier when you write something that you're passionate about. The wonderful thing about content is that it's timeless. You can write something today, and 3 years from now, it will still be out there being viewed and shared, which brings traffic way back to your site. Okay, backlinks I talked about before. I gotta go, so we're gonna make this quick. Backlinks are just votes. You go out there, and there are some URLs that you can look and see what your competitors' backlinks are. Make sure you're listed on all of those sites also. Start a blog, like I said. List your site in trustworthy directories. Write guest posts on other people's websites. Get those links back to your site. It's one of the most important things you can do. Links are votes, and we all know how the voting system works, so you might as well make it work for you. That is how SEO is done. Okay? Pray to the Google gods and actually get to work, and that's how it works. Okay, so we're going to do a couple quick Q&As if possible. I'll start with my first question. Why did the SEO newbie cross the road? Because he wanted to get hit with some traffic. All right. All right, what questions can I answer for you? Anything about SEO? Right in the back?
The exact search phrase. How important is it in the body text, as an outbound link, and as an inbound link?
Ooh, well, it's important in context, right? So when you actually write the phrase out and you put it on the page itself, okay, you need to... It's touchy. It's really, really paramount that you write everything except for literally the exact same thing that someone would write. So you kind of want to write around it. If you write the exact phrase, it will come up. But Google is more likely to rank things that are literally not mirrors of what is being put in there. Okay? If you put in the exact phrase over and over and over again, you just do it. If you respond with the exact phrase, make sure you add a lot, not a little bit, but a lot of content. Remember, one of the highest ranking sites on every search that you do is going to have an average of 2,000 words in response to whatever it is you just typed into Google. So remember, it's not just about the phrase, it's about the content. I hope that answered your question. Another question up front? There's a question up front here.
With the two shortcuts that you just showed us to spit out a blog, are they actually keyword optimized? That what it's returning to us as well?
No. So what it's going to do is it's going to write the article for you, and then you are going to take that information and you're going to read it and go, okay, the AI is like 90% there. Let me go in and just fix it, because sometimes it'll write things that are a little kooky. You know, it's like, we'll put a clown in an ATM machine like they talked about earlier. You know, like as a fun exercise, it makes sense. But not as a real-world implementation of when you're giving an individual some actual advice, you know? And all of your responses should be actual advice. Good question. Who else wants to know the secrets? Right up front? In the front here?
Okay, so you mentioned how important it is to create tags on your website. Can you give me I'm creating a website soon, and can you break down what a tag exactly is?
Okay, so in code, something that Russ showed earlier, which is a bunch of jargon to a lot of people, there is a thing called an H1 tag, H2 and H3. In WordPress, as an example, it will give you can add an H1, an H2, and an H3. H1 basically means the biggest block of it basically makes, it's like text size equals 50, you know, whatever fits on the screen. So your H1 tag should be the most important thing. As soon as they land, they should know what they're there for. And the H2 tag is more information about the H1, and the H3 tag is more information about the H1 and the H2. So it's really just, if you write code, you know what I'm talking about with the actual tags itself. It's an actual HTML term. If you're using a tool like WordPress or Elementor or something like that, then you would go and actually add the H1. You just go to the H1, and then that's like the big text that goes across the front of the page. Like when you go to Google and you go to search, what's the big word right across the middle of the screen? Google. That would be considered an H1 tag, even though it's a little bit. Any other questions? No? Thank you all very much for your time. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, my email is teddy@ackc.agency. If you'd like any part of this presentation or the links, shoot me an email. I'll respond with all of it. So you're welcome to have it. And if you need help with your website, we are available. I will be giving a workshop later this afternoon, I believe at 3:15 in the workshop room, all about Google Ads. So if you want to learn about the back end of Google Ads and how to do it for real and some of the secrets, 3:15. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.